Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Fan Appreciation Month here on Reaction and Review. Tonight, guys, I'm checking out a family film from 1984. That movie is The NeverEnding Story. Yes, guys, I've never seen The NeverEnding Story. I had many opportunities to watch it when I was a kid, and for whatever reason, I always skipped past it. So I've gone my whole life, I've never seen this movie. And whenever people find out that I've never seen it, they usually give me this sort of look that they kind of give me this look as if I've missed out on this massive, important part of my childhood, or rather of most people's childhoods. So now I'm going to finally rectify that. I'm going to finally get my chance to see The NeverEnding Story. I really wish I could tell you anything about this movie, but the only things I know about it are the things referenced on shit like Robot Chicken and Family Guy, because both of them have made constant references to this. They usually also telegraph that it's from The NeverEnding Story. That's why I know it's from The NeverEnding Story. However, though, in terms of actual story and everything else, I have no earthly clue. I'm certainly hoping for the movie to be decent, though. After all, everyone's been telling me how awesome the movie is. So I'm certainly hoping that it at least somewhat lives up to that massive praise that people have heaped on it for most of my lifetime. But the only way I'm going to find out, guys, if this thing is any good at all, is if I shut up and I push play, and I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out The NeverEnding Story. Well, I can say this much, guys. Special effects in this are fantastic. By the standards of 1984, this is some revolutionary, amazing shit. Unfortunately, at least so far, the writing has been a little bit weak, and the acting from our lead child actor has been awful. I'm certainly hoping that that gets better as the movie goes on, but so far, at least, we have some absolutely fucking fantastic special effects to look at, so at least that much is a plus. Okay, hang on a minute. I have a real strong question. So they send this kid out to find a cure for the Empress. They tell him he's not allowed to he's not allowed to bring anybody with him. He's not allowed to bring any weapons. He's not allowed to bring anything. Yet he's allowed to have his horse. He's allowed to have this pendant. And they don't know where the hell he's supposed to go. They know the rules for this quest, but they don't know where the fuck he's supposed to go. I understand, guys, that this is a family film aimed more towards children. Most children are not going to think about that kind of thing. But I am not a child, and these little details are really starting to just dig at me. It's just starting to just bug me ever so slightly. And if they continue to fill this with logical goofiness, it's going to ruin what has thus far been a really interesting movie. So let me see if I understand this. Atreyu was supposed to travel about 10,000 miles in order to meet some friggin' oracle. Falkor, this gigantic dragon with a dog head, decides to fly him almost the entire way, which is in direct violation of the quest because Atreyu wasn't supposed to get assistance from anyone. That was what he was told the moment he took the quest. I understand, guys, that that's not a detail most people are going to look into. But goddammit, it just sort of bugs me a bit, and, you know, perhaps maybe if the writing was a little bit stronger, I wouldn't be fucking, whinging on about it. But god damn it, it stands out, and it's kind of annoying. Alright, guys, two things. One, I will say this right now. One, the nothing, when you actually see it, looks awesome. However, I have to question the name, because what the nothing is like this sea of, storm, clouds. Last time I checked, storm clouds were still something. I understand they wanted the Nothing to look awesome and look cool and look really nice on camera. Unfortunately, by actually making it something instead of making it like a nebulous black void eating everything, unfortunately, you've now made the Nothing into something, and that just makes zero sense. However, I guess I can kind of give that a free pass, considering the fact that this movie seems to be almost 100% allergic to fucking logic. So, I guess I'm just gonna have to let that one bother me and just hope and pray that it doesn't bug me too much. Alright, guys, I think my favorite character in this whole film is this fucking wolf. It's so fucking sinister in just its whole plan. And as it's sitting here and as it's talking to this irritating kid, laying everything out, this wolf is quickly becoming the greatest character in this whole film. Unfortunately, that's also partially because nobody has any real depth to speak of, but still, fact of the matter is, at least now I have a favorite fucking character, so awesome. Well, guys, that was the NeverEnding story. Let me shut that off. Oh boy. You know, I kind of wanted this movie to be decent. I want to stress right now, before people start hitting me with mountains of negative comments, the movie isn't bad. Hell, I am never going to say that the NeverEnding Story is a bad movie. But, it would probably have been a hell of a lot better if I had first seen it, when it first came out when I was 2. Or perhaps a little later when I'm like 5, 6. Would have been better if I watched it when I was really young. Going into it in your 30s, it just doesn't hold up. However, though, that honestly isn't a terrible thing. Allow me to try to explain. Writing. Before I really talk about writing in this movie, I want to make one point abundantly clear. This movie was totally made as a family film, one that was going to specifically entertain children. And because of that, a whole lot of the faults that I'm going to bring up can easily be just swept away because kids aren't going to care about these things. Children are not going to care about any of the faults I am about to mention because they are going to be too swept up in the special effects and in the story, and that is awesome. So I can basically say that every single thing I'm about to say here can probably be immediately brushed away with, but children are not going to care about that. That still isn't going to stop me from talking about this stuff, though, because when you are in your 30s and you're not watching with children, what is here is ultimately a lifeless, kind of pointless fantasy film with a story that makes very little sense. Now, I'm going to say right now, and I talked about it as the movie was going, that the NeverEnding Story has this very horrible hatred of logic, where they will set up rules and then will just completely discount said rules because it doesn't help the story much. So, for instance, when they first give their quest to our warrior, Treyu is told straight out, you are not allowed to bring your weapons. You are not allowed help from anyone. You are, not allowed this, and you're not allowed this. Then they give him like a pendant, which is supposed to show that he speaks for the Empress. And he's allowed to bring his horse with him. Well, your horse is technically someone, pal. And then when he loses the horse, then he gets Falkor. Falkor is the giant luck, dragon that has a dog's head for reasons I still do not fully stand. And he gets help from these gnomes. He gets help, which is in direct violation of the quest he was given. I don't know why they would put these sorts of limitations on him if this quest was supposed to save the entire kingdom. So it would have been, or not even the kingdom, the whole fucking world. It would have been better if they would have either not had those limitations and just had him choose to not bring along his frickin' weapons, or actually have him go at it completely and totally alone and make it kind of sort of a, like straight, full-blown solo, quest thing. That would have probably been cool. Excuse me. However, though, that is really just sort of like the tip of all of the problems. Why don't we leave the world of Fantasia? Let's talk about the writing in the real world outside of the fantasy realm. Because this movie's trying to be ridiculously meta. And the way it does that is there's this kid, Bastion, who apparently fantasizes about everything, and he's been late with turning in his homework, and his mother friggin' died, so he's just all about, so he's all about having his head in the clouds and fantasy, and his father's a total fucking killjoy who's like, you basically have to start, planting your friggin' like feet on the ground. We have to start thinking realistically, blah, 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 blah. So, while running from some bullies, Bastion barges into this bookstore and winds up stealing this book from the store. Don't worry, though, because he left a frickin' note saying that I promise I will bring it, back. Spoiler, he, as far as the movie is concerned, he never brings the book back. Anyway, and so he shows up to school ridiculously late. Instead of going to his classes, he decides to bugger off to the attic in the school and just start reading. And when school lets out, instead of going home, he decides to go back into the attic. So he spends the whole night up in the attic, and apparently his dad doesn't fucking care, because there's no evidence that anybody cares that Bastion is basically now living like a hermit-ish life as he spends the night in the attic of this frickin' school. And not only do we have him reading this book, they also then attempt to play up that Bastion and Atreyu are the same person, or that they're like sharing this and that. So when in the book Atreyu gets his shoulder all jacked up, Bastion feels it and screams. And then that never happens again. Every other instance where there's damage done in the book, Treyu is getting slashed up by this fucking wolf and all this other shit, Bastion doesn't fucking feel it. But this one time with the shoulder, sure. And then there was the thing with the mirror, gate, where they basically are staring at each other, and that's supposed to show. And then at the very end of the book, you find out that yes, they are kind of sharing a fucking experience, and the Empress has to spell out all of this meta shit while basically talking directly to the viewer. And the viewer is even a part of the film when she mentions that there are people watching him watch us. It's like, shut up, movie. Alright, you are not that fucking clever. And it felt so forced. Now, the writing, though, guys, and once more, as much, guys, as I'd love to rail on all of these problems, the mountains of pointless logic, I'm still trying to figure out how is it that the horse sinks in the swamp of sadness because the sadness is taking over. And then when Atreyu is sitting there mourning the loss of his horse, obviously he's covered in mountains of sorrow and sadness. He too doesn't just sink and die and the movie's over. He doesn't though. He's not sinking, even though he's loaded with all the sorrow and sadness, which is supposed to cause you to sink in this motherfucking swamp. Or an even worse case is the fact that Atreyu and his dipshit horse are wandering for a week, because even though the quest gave him all of these rules, no weapons, no help, no this, yada yada yada, they don't tell him where to fucking go, even though the Empress knows exactly where the hell he's supposed to go. She mentions that, and there's some stupid bullshit justification for it. So they wander around for a week before they're like, hey, why don't we go and see this why don't we go see this all-knowing force that's just past the swamp of sadness? Motherfucker, if you knew that was there, why wasn't that your first fucking stop? Why the hell did you have to go and visit the crystal spires, or whatever the fuck it was? All these other places that you sum up in all of 3 sentences. That, guys, was like one of the things that really bothered me, is that the writing felt so lazy at times. And once more, as much, guys, as all of that bothered me, children are not going to care. Children, honestly, are just going to take it and go, all right, cool, cool, cool. I want to see more stuff, and that's fine. This movie, children are going to adore this movie, and the writing is not going to bother them in the slightest. Why don't I shift from writing, because god damn it, I could talk about that writing for ages. In fact, I kind of feel like I have been talking about the writing for ages. The acting. A lot of the acting is really solid, except when children are asked to act. So that leaves us down with Atreyu, Bastion, and the Empress. These 3 human beings cannot act. The very fact that the big fucking closer is those 3, and those 3 alone, it's terrible. Now, the only other kids you really have to listen to are these 3 fucking bullies, which are the reason why Bastion stormed into the bookstore. He was running from these 3 douchebags. None of them can act either, but they honestly are in the movie honest to fuck for all of about a minute and a half. So we have Bastion, who can act. That kid, my god. And that kid is narrating a lot of this film. And he doesn't sound like he cares. He doesn't sound like he wants to be there. He really doesn't even sound like he knows what the fuck he's reading. And the Empress is there at the end, and she also doesn't sound like she fucking cares. Then again, it also sounds like English may not have been her first, languages. She's kind of stumbling over her fucking dialogue. And then we have Atreyu, whose one lone emotion, if you can call this emotion, he ever gives in the movie, is screaming. So when he is supposed to be saddened by his horse sinking into the fucking swamp, instead of actually giving any honest to God feeling, he's just screaming at the horse. The horse did a better acting job in that scene than the fucking kid did. So our 3 primary child actors all fucking suck. Once more, children are not going to care about that, because the kids are probably going to think that sounds kind of sort of realistic. But barring the children, the rest of the cast is amazing. Alright, nobody else here is failing at just knocking it out of the fucking park. All of our actors are doing a magnificent job with what little they are given, because they are given clumsy fucking dialogue, and they're given all this other crap, and they're still turning in really decent showings. So that honestly saves this. The other thing which saves it, I'm going to jump from acting right to this, special effects. Our special effects, our costumes, our makeup is some of the most masterful stuff you will see from a movie in the early 80s. This is amazing to look at, guys. Alright, as much, guys, as I have railed on the writing, as much as I bitched about the kids in this movie, special effects are awesome. If there was any one fault, and I barely count this as a fault, is any larger scale puppet which is asked to talk doesn't have proper mouth movement. Again, I am not going to cite that as this big issue, alright? I don't care that Falcor is saying about 4 sentences worth of frickin' dialogue and his mouth flaps open like twice. I don't care, because everything else on him looks awesome. The very fact that as he is talking, there are everything from like servo motors, puppeteers, something, which are causing the muscles in his face to move, and he's blinking, and it's just all this high-end detail stuff, and you see it on every one of these puppets, guys. You see it on all of them. You see it on him, you see it on the wolf, you see it on the rock biter. All of them have got full muscle movement in the face, and that is not something that you normally see. And I will happily take that over the mouth moving perfectly. It still looks awesome. And if this movie had phoned it in on the friggin' special effects, then this thing would have sucked. If there's any one spot though where special effects are a little bit iffy, it is on the Falkor flying sequences. Because of course it has to be done with chroma key. So you'll have the kid, whichever fucking kid it is in that given scene, riding on Falkor's back. The problem is not the kid. The problem is with Falkor, because he has all this hair on him, and they've got this giant fan blowing on him, so that way it actually looks like they're flying. And the hair will basically blow up into the negative space around whichever kid is on him. And when that hair starts moving, there's this very distinct blue or sometimes green aura around the hair, because they couldn't quite chroma key away all of the blue or green, depending on what they were using for that shot. However, that is such a minor nothing that it honestly is only worth mentioning in so much as it's fucking there. Okay. Our soundtrack is awesome. Our score is fucking beautiful. Our lighting here is amazing. Our camera work is fantastic. Guys, the only problems I have are writing and acting, and even then, acting is only limited to the children. And even under those circumstances, all of that ultimately means nothing for the target audience of this film. I'm going to tell you guys right now, kids are going to fucking love this movie. And if you have children and you're looking for a fun innocent fantasy film which is going to keep them glued to the friggin' screen for about 90 minutes or so, then yes, you can totally show them this. I can totally recommend it if you're looking to show it to children. However, if you've never seen it before, like me, and you're going into it for the first time, and you're in your 20s, you're in your 30s, you're possibly older, you are probably not going to be able to look past a whole lot of the flaws which this movie has in terms of writing and the logic of the story flow. Or it's probably going to annoy you that things just seem to suddenly happen. I'm going to tell you guys right now, Falkor is an awesome character and everything, but Falkor also comes out of left fucking field, okay? It's literally, he just shows up for the sake of showing up. There was literally no build-up, there was no setup, and when he's finally introduced, he has already flown Atreyu 9,800 some odd miles into the 10,000 mile trek to the southern region of Fantasia. He literally just comes in out of nowhere, and they do that a lot with characters and settings and all that, which is also why the first week of the quest is summed up in about 3 fucking sentences instead of actually showing you some of it. However, though, once more, guys, the children who this thing is meant for are not going to care about any of that. The only person who might care about it is you. And if you watched this as a child, you will totally be able to look past all of that because of simple, amazing nostalgia. And if you have that going, awesome, rock on. Unfortunately, this movie is not for me, and I cannot recommend it to people who are curious about it, unless once more you're looking for something to show to kids. This thing is a fantastic children's film. I can absolutely recommend it if you're looking for something to show to like a child. If you're looking for something to show to like a son, a daughter, a niece, a nephew, a grandchild, by all means throw it in, and they will fucking love you forever. However, you may not have as much fun as they do. That really, guys, is about as far as I can go in terms of recommending this. Is only if you're showing it to kids. Now, the NeverEnding Story came off the Amazon wish list. The person who sent it in was Robert. Guys, please swing on over to Robert's SoundCloud page. Check out everything he's got over there. Robert, I thank you, because people have been telling me for years about this movie, and I always wanted my chance to finally see it. And even though it did not live up to all of the hype, it still wasn't terrible. And I am happy that I finally had a chance to see it. And I would not have had that opportunity if you hadn't have sent it in, and for that I thank you. You're fucking awesome. Once more, guys, please swing over to Robert's SoundCloud page. Check out everything he has there. Wow. You know, I really did have high hopes on this movie. But you know what? I'm going to go watch another one of the movies that I missed out on as a kid and got to watch thanks to Reaction and Review, because god damn it, the movie is that freaking good. I'm looking over at my shelf. Actually, I see two of them. I see Labyrinth and I see The Last Fucking Unicorn. I'm going to go watch both of those. And I actually know somebody who has been wanting to get a copy of this. I'm going to give this to them because I know that they're going to absolutely love it, because they have kids and they want to show this to their kids. Awesome shit. Anyway, guys, that is going to do it for this installment of Reaction and Review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.